The Little Coal River has become a popular destination for anglers and paddlers alike, but that wasn't the case just a few years ago. The DEP's Mike Huff has more on how years of restoration work was as much an art as it was a science.
It's a late summer morning, and after a day of rain, the Little Coal is in fine shape for floating. The river today is a far cry from how it was just a few years ago.
Say 15 years ago, when I personally started working with the river and with other entities on the river, average day we wouldn't see anybody floating it for fishing or recreation. But since that time and the structures have gone in, it's nothing to see 10, 15 canoes, kayaks, inner tubes float down any given stretch of this river. The recreational boating has taken off tremendously. But that's partially, or at least I like to think, partially due to the structures we've put in, making it more floatable in low flow because we've narrowed the river up, making the center channel deeper so you can float more than you have to drag your boat.
Making the Little Coal better for boating was actually a side effect. The primary reason for the stream restoration work was to reduce erosion and clean out the excess sediment from the bottom.
Prior to putting the structures in, the sediment was choking most of the river. The riverbed was a lot of sand, as opposed to today we've got a lot more cobble showing up in the bottom. The small rocks make better habitat for the bugs, which feed the fish, which make better habitat all the way around.
And what a difference it's made.
Oh, here we go. Did I see mayflower?
Mayfly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See mayflies.
There we go. Oh, that is such good news.
Basically, it's a watershed approach, whereas we've started on the upper end, we've worked our way down through the bigger sections of river, and making more homes for the bugs, the small bugs in the cobble, makes more food for the fish, and it's a domino effect up the food chain.
During the construction phase, it was pretty hard to miss the work going on in the watershed. Lots of heavy machinery moving lots of trees and heavy rocks. But if you think they were randomly placed, you'd be wrong.
It's tough for the contractors. I mean, these are 2 to 3 ton boulders, sometimes bigger, and we're having them place them at an elevation that's very specific and not giving them much room for air. We had to adjust some things along the river, structure-wise, elevation-wise, but we only gave the contractor 3/10 of a foot of air on the structures.
It's as much art as it is science sometimes. The science tells us what sections of river need it the most, what types of river bends need what types of structure, but the art is being able to place them there so that they work. You get the best bang for your buck out of them, and they don't look like something that's very obtrusive in the river. That it's not like you're putting a concrete retaining wall there to protect that bank, but you've got natural stone that is put there, and it just blends into parts of nature.
It's a technique known as natural stream design, and to the casual observer, all these structural elements are hard to spot.
That's the intent. This is a natural stream restoration project, and the idea is to make the river do the work. We really don't want to see the structures bulging out. What we want to see is the results from the structures. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with what we saw in the river today. The river responds so well to the structures. We saw a lot of the benefits early on, and they've just held up. All the structures are still in place and they're still doing their job.
And what the designers learned on the Little Coal is being applied to other stream restoration projects around the state.
It was actually early on realized as a proving ground for stream restoration in southern West Virginia. The Little Coal River is actually a fairly large river for this kind of structures. It's not the size of the Kanawha or the Elk, but it's bigger than some of the natural reproducing trout streams up north, where we're using boulders that are half the size of a car hood in a large river that sees huge flows. And we've got studies that prove that these things are working. They're moving the sediment out, uncovering that cobble. So that's what we wanted. We didn't want something we had to come back every 5 years and replace rocks or dig scour pools out. We wanted something that we could build once and let it go. And it's worked tremendously. If you're looking for a great place to come out and float, the Coal River is one of my favorite places. With the proximity to Charleston and southern West Virginia, it's just really shows what you can do with a river if you give it some attention.
In Boone County, I'm Mike Huff for Environment Matters.
You can find out more information about recreational opportunities in the Coal River watershed by visiting coalriverwatertrail.org. The group even has a smartphone app you can download from their website.